symposium last year. He's now doing a doctoral program with us, and we're delighted you're here with us. I'm going to ask him to say a few words. He has now completed the course something like 6 months ago. But again, I think I have the duty to introduce him as well. David has many facets to him. One of them is that he's a very good entrepreneur, and he's very good at getting how to know people. And when he came to Cranfield, he went to the bank, and he said, "I want to see your manager now." And he said, "But the manager is busy. I want to see the manager now. Do you see this bag? In this bag I have £224,000, and I want to deposit them now." And okay, panic-stricken, the bank staff say, "Yes, we'll get you to see the bank manager." Throw out the other customer that was in with the bank manager. And the bank manager says, "But David, why are you going around with so much cash?" And he said, "Yes, I'm worried about all this cash, and this is one to put it away in a safe place." But he says, "How did you make all this cash?" But he says, "I'm very, very rich. I can make money very, very easily." "How do you do it?" "I make bets." "What?" "I make bets," he says, "and I always derive a great deal of financial benefit from them." Just give me an example. For those that you don't know him, David comes from Canada and Poland. He's very patriotic. So he says to the manager, "Okay, I bet you I will come here in 2 weeks, and I'll be here at this time, and I bet you £4,000 that you are not able to dance the polka in this office with me in it." And then the manager thinks, £5,000 in 2 weeks, that sounds like a good deal. And he said, "I bet you I can dance the polka and bring the cash with you." And then he said, "Yes, but there's one detail. I need to bring with me a lawyer to verify that you are doing this." And then my manager says, "Great," he says, and when the back manager, when he goes home, he said, "Well, this is easy money, obviously." And right enough, the next time that comes along, the bank manager receives him at the appointed time, 2 weeks later, and the bank manager starts dancing a beautiful polka. And when he finishes, the bank manager says, "But David, why is your lawyer banging his head against the wall?" You see, I had bet with him that I would have the bank manager dancing the polka, and I bet £10,000.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction to CPDs. Now, before I start,
Did you really do it?
No.
I wish you could see your faces right now. You're all probably thinking, what in God's love is this guy doing? Now bear with me, I'll explain it to you just in a moment. When I was preparing for tonight, I did a Google search, and I found a magnitude of advice on how to deliver a good speech. But there were only 2 that actually had got my attention. The first one was to work on my voice projection. So my speech is delivered to you clearly, and it's easy to understand and follow. And as a matter of fact, before I walked into this room, I did some tongue twisting exercises, and I think that has worked just fine. Now, the second piece of advice I found was given by some expert in the field of speech giving. Now, pay attention. He argued that a person should do a bit of exercise before giving a speech in order to improve the blood flow into the center of speech region in the person's brain. Now that I have done it, I can tell you it isn't working. I am completely and utterly terrified of giving speeches. And one of my motivations of being here tonight is to build up my tolerance for a heart attack. So I challenge you to do the same. Perhaps not by having a heart attack, but to explore yourself and find out the things that specifically you are terrified of, and push yourself to do them. control your own fear. Someone has told me once that only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can really get. And that's exactly what I'm doing tonight. I'm taking my risk one step further. My dear colleagues, friends, faculty members, dear guests, and members of the administrative staff, it is with my deep and sincere pleasure and privilege to be here tonight to celebrate students' achievements. So tell me, how are you feeling? Do you feel that sense of excitement? Do you share the pride, that happiness, and the satisfaction? You are the achievers. And I'm here tonight to tell you that as Cranfield graduates, there are great things ahead of you. Just give yourself a round of applause, please, now. Now, the year commencing your MSc started relatively easy and gaining complexity towards the end. Can you recall the frustration you had during the exam period, when all the work piled up, creating this mush of chaotic and complex tasks? Do you remember the Friday nights in the CSA when you had more trouble walking out than walking into the bar? Now, in these examples, the state went from order to disorder. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about tonight. The concept of entropy. It's been a topic of many speeches. However, I've noticed that in most cases, it is referred to in a negative way. And this is done by linking increasing chaos with highly difficult and complex processes. For example, gas turbine companies have to cope with more and more complex market requirements to meet the client and regulatory expectations to remain competitive in the market. Back in the day, it was relatively easier to design and build an engine. The control systems were less complex, but on the other side, the efficiency and the engine power was lower. In response to the needs generated by the engine users, these companies had to restructure and expand over time. And now, we have a global network of products, services, and information flowing at incredible speeds, connecting our cities, countries, and continents, and reaffirming that distance is no longer a major issue. And this network will just get more and more complex over time. So what that means for you in practice is that you will have to cope with an increased level of responsibility, more challenging multitasking, and meeting even higher expectations in this chaotic work environment. And inevitably, without a doubt, it will get even more complex in the future. Sounds frightening? Well, my point is that it shouldn't be. If you haven't done so, and now looking forward to the future, set a goal for yourself. For example, would you like to be a director of gas turbine development in future civil aviation industry? Or a general manager for combined cycle turbine power plants development program? Or maybe an expert in research and development of gas turbine engines? To get there, you will always have to be on the top of the change. And in fact, you will be the one who drives and encourages that chaos and complexity. But if you think about it, this is all a natural process. From order to disorder, from disorder to more disorder, and from more disorder to more and more and more disorder, and so on and so forth. When I think about complexity and chaos, I like to think about the irrational numbers. Imagine you place a ball on a needle, and if the coordinate of that ball with respect to the needle is pi, you will never be certain which way that ball will fall. Or if you have a look at the golden ratio, that makes our architecture so much more beautiful and appealing. If the universe didn't tend to go towards increased complexity and disorder, our world would look just like humans made it. Everything will be structured, square. Everything will have its own place. The increasing chaos and disorder, however, in nature is expressed in many different forms. We have the beautiful beaches. We have the cloud patterns. We have oceans. We have branches of the trees. Or even the effect of air turbulence. And it makes our world truly beautiful. And I will tell you that equally as beautiful is our world of more and more complex gas turbine engines. I hope you have enjoyed my talk. And remember, not to exercise before you give a speech in the future at any point. And always push yourself to accept more and more challenging and complex tasks. Because this is what makes our world truly beautiful. Thank you very much.